bars, casinos, the nightlife. It's a very, very vibrant place indeed. And there's number 17, which is Terence Say's Mercedes, gets set to go out once again. The clock ticks on down, and we are almost now at the halfway point. There's 15 and a half more minutes to go. 30 minutes, 45 minutes for free practice. You think is quite generous. You don't get that many laps anyway, but I can't remember, in recent years anyway, a day quite like this, where every session has been interrupted, and some, of course, more than once.
I do remember it, because generally there have been days when I've been commentating on my own.
Ah, right.
So they kind of stay in the memory.
Let me just check my sympathy app for you.
Is it running low?
It is very low.
Yeah.
The sole Porsche, the 718 GT4 RS CS, RS Club Sport, the Cayman in other words, of Zheng Jian Fang. Another great colour scheme on that car. It's operated by the RSR team, which is a good name for a Porsche team. Other drivers in the pit lane posing for the cameras. So as soon as the session will be back underway. After this, there is GT3, and then after that, the day shifts itself towards qualifying, of course, for tomorrow's races.
Have a brief break before that, don't we? The scheduled break. The end of GT3 should be around about 11:30 if the session gets underway, and then 10 past 12 we get qualifying underway for the TCR cars, TCR Asia Challenge. Half an hour for qualifying 1, and then 15 minutes for qualifying 2. So in a 15-minute qualifying session, you've got to make it count. So you've got to get the tyres up to temperature, brakes, all of those things. And 15 minutes is a very short amount of time to be on the gear circuit. As you say, 6.1 kilometres. It's not a short circuit, this. So they're all getting a chance now down in pit lane to wave to the world as the camera crew make their way down. Just about to enjoy some of the liveries that are dreamt up for this weekend. And straight away we're back underway.
Excellent.
So that's quick work by the marshals and the recovery units as well. Green flag is waved, although they're saying that on the screen. I can't see activity in pit lane. Do you think that might have come up on the screen a bit early? It certainly said a green flag, but no one is moving in pit lane. So I wonder. That's the 6th car of Liang Weng, who is top of the times, 2:41.805. No, it was green.
Yeah, I just think some of the teams weren't quite ready.
Weren't ready for it.
Simple as that, yeah.
Which is good as far as having them a bit more spaced out, potentially. Having said that, it's a car park. They only have 12.5 minutes of this free practice session remaining.
So Liang Jiatong leads them out, and Liang Wang behind him. So the two BMWs go toe-to-toe, and then you've got the first of the two Lotuses of Lau Kai Law behind, number 75. And again, look, straight away, you've got people being heroes. Never mind the fact that the tyres are cold. Never mind the fact that the pressures have dropped. I've got to get to the front. I've got to get to the front. And you know what's going to happen. Look, that Lotus absolutely dancing all over the road. He's up the inside. Got to get past the BMW. Can't possibly sit behind another car. Well, it worked, but honestly, that's why we end up with all these incidents.
That was quite lucky that did work. Yeah.
But, you know, I know people want clear track space. I know they want to push on. But really? When you know the perils of doing that at Macau, is it really worth running the gauntlet like that? Clearly for some, it must be. So up San Francisco Hill, and we've got strife already because 33
the LG Ren
has stopped. The Parkview motor, well, it lives up to its name. It's parked and it's viewing, but the Parkview Ginetta has stopped handily near an access gate, so the marshals might be able to get that out of the way quickly, but not a good session for Ginettas, this.
No, it's not. No, that's disappointing to see, because Ginetta are such an interesting manufacturer, aren't they?
Yeah.
They really are, because they're not, although UK based, they're not, they don't just sell and drive in the UK, they are a global brand. And It's going nowhere, is it?
No.
Not now.
Not without
it's got
a driver.
no driver.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ginetta's history goes back decades, but it really is of late that it's become a more prominent manufacturer through its motorsport activities and running predominantly one-man championships, but has always been a GT4 provider. So yellow flag in that first sector, which is quite a long sector. There are 5 sectors to the lap, by the way, around Macau. The Toyota getting a little bit caught up in the traffic there is one-way Hong's car, and that's got them all stacked up behind, including Li Yanhan's BMW.
Red flag.
Oh, again.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So.
That surprises me a bit. I would have thought that possibly that car could have been moved, but maybe it's getting marshalled onto the track.
They wouldn't do a live push,
No.
so short of the car being lifted, which could potentially be done live, I think, then yeah, marshals will not be required to get on the circuit. They do enough brave things over the course of the weekend.
True. So there's a healthy Ginetta, number 77, which is Law Kim Ho's car. But the marshals quickly having to scramble back onto the circuit.
That was only the outlap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, onwards and inwards into pit lane.
Makes you wonder what the dramas could be with the Ginetta, that having been in the pits for so long, it's fine, it fires up, it goes out on track, and then suddenly grinds to a halt.
Yeah, no, it's a bit perplexing, that one, but sadly, it necessitates another stop in the session, which is not good news for getting into a rhythm, to putting some meaningful laps together. And bear in mind, even if you're a seasoned gear circuit driver, like Leung Yan Weng is on pole position, fastest time, you would still like to be able to put in a few laps to remind yourself of the circuit that you raced on last 364 days ago. So it's
So we're being told again the session will be resumed on short notice.
Yeah, that shouldn't take long.
No, as soon as that Ginetta is off the road. Kelvin Leung, I'm racking my brain to try and remember the westernised name that he preferred. Kelvin Leung, right, that makes life slightly simpler for us.
It does.
But he is at the moment the fastest. Yeah, winner of the Road Sport Challenge in the past. And Kelvin Leung, 2015 Macau Road Sport Challenge winner. He's raced in the Macau Touring Car Cup. He raced in the World Touring Car Championship races here. Won the Macau Touring Car Championship, so hugely experienced driver, but not necessarily so in GT terms. Now that's Crayon.
Look, that's Crayon.
Okay.
Yeah, the number 2 car, Crayon. Brian Lee in number 2. That's a good description, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I couldn't think of any other way of saying it. So, as cars just slowly make their way down the pit lane, I think we can expect this to get back underway for what it's worth, because it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds of the session remaining. Well, it is worth it. Even one lap around the circuit is worth it. But interruptions in every session so far today. This is session 4 of the day. There is one more free practice session. So no pressure on the GT3s.
No, quite. But equally, everybody's got to behave in qualifying.
Didn't we have it last year that the best behaved session was the GT cars when they went out?
You might well be right.
I'm pretty sure it was, because we thought it might be a troublesome session, and it was quite the opposite.
Green flag showed. So with 6 3/4 minutes on the clock, those that are on their toes can go. And out will go Liang Jiatong. I mean, actually, the free practice sessions are there to give the drivers a chance to learn the circuit, and the teams a chance to, if needs be, work on setup. Every session has been so interrupted, I'm not really sure anybody has learnt anything. They've not been able to get into a rhythm, they've not been able to come in and adjust anything particularly and go back out and try it. It really is just a case of trying to survive.
Is it? I was going to say, you're driving to survive very much. and that's not ideal for teams setting themselves up for qualifying this afternoon. No racing today, so once we have our short lunch break here at the circuit, just give the marshals a chance to have a bite to eat, a bit of a rest, and then we'll be qualifying all the way through this afternoon. The way the 4-day meeting works is a free practice day, then a qualifying day, and then a race day on Saturday and Grand Prix day on Sunday. What we've got today is free practice and qualifying and racing all day tomorrow.
So there, Kelvin Leung tucked up behind the Ginetta of Brian Lai, getting away from the next little wave of cars with Adam Christodoulou at the back of that. Adam, who should be there or thereabouts come the race, and certainly a potential victor of it. He'll be in that leading group for sure. So the fastest lap, still that 2 minutes 41 for Kelvin Leung, and Brian Lai ahead of him. Brian, somebody else that's done quite a bit of racing over the years. Formula Renault, he took part in the Asian Championship and the subsequent Super Challenge. And that's a Toyota with the problem now, and that is Han Li Chao's Phantom Pro racing car.
Yeah, that's the reason for the white flag. Slow vehicle on course. So the marshals indicating with the white flag that there is the number 7 car limping around the circuit.
Like it's gone into, as you say, limp home.
Limp mode, yeah. That's what it looked like.
So 4 3/4 minutes to go.
Oh, we've got a purple. That's exciting. So in the middle sector, sector 3, only because it's unexpected, really, just after the session gets underway. 75 is the car of Law Kai Law, and has put in the fastest overall sector in sector 3. Car currently in 6th place.
And that was the Lotus that was dancing about in the traffic on the restart, desperate to try and
get back up. Yeah.
And so now 2 purples. So Law Kai Law, as you say, is doing a pretty impressive job here, getting on with the programme.
So you're right to pick him out of being pretty urgent to press on. Clearly knew what the Lotus potentially would be able to dish up here.
And he was one of the later entries for the entry. There he is, number 75. So clearly eager to exploit the opportunity to race, and he's in the traffic and he's leaving nothing on the table. I mean, that is the sort of move you expect on the last lap of the race, not the first lap of free practice after a red flag. But he's cleared the traffic, and so now onto a proper flying lap, because that was only the out lap, don't forget, goes Law Kai Law. So that lap was 5 minutes and change because of the pit stop. Now he's got the clear road ahead of him. In the background is Adam Christodoulou's Lotus Emira, the sister car. There it is, you can see, third in the queue, and that's also now done a purple sector.
It's really interesting. This is the first chance we've got to see how they're going to be performing. I think the answer is performing pretty well over the course of this weekend. See the car skip around quite a lot, don't you?
But that part is bumpy anyway, and you know, these cars are limited in what they can do in terms of suspension compared to a GT3 car, and they're on the limit. So when they brake, it's heavy braking.
Oh yeah.
And certainly Law Kai Law,
no doubt about that, on the limit.
Is on the limit, yeah.
And very determined as well. Threading the car through, the 75, the Lotus, up towards the left-hander at Teddy Hill, then on towards the Solitude S's, but it's got the better of that little clutch of traffic. So this could be a really good one, couldn't it? Fastest overall in sectors 1 and 2. Just in the traffic now.
Yeah, that Supra limping on. I'm surprised it's not parked. It is still going.
Yeah, that's going to be a slow lap home, isn't it? And the Lotus continues on its way. How neat and tidy can this lap be? And as you rightly say, with Adam Christodoulou just behind, although in terms of positions, just in front, because Adam is currently in 5th position in car 88, and Law Kai Law, who is going to go quickest, because 3 purple sectors now, sectors 1, 2 and 3. The Lotus you're looking at, it's up towards the Melco hairpin, or rather down towards the Melco hairpin.
You're right in what you said earlier about it being a good-looking car, that, and
in those colours as well.
And it's good to see Lotus back, and I think GT4 is the perfect place for Lotus.
It is, yeah. This has been a real push lap, hasn't it? Goodness me.
Yeah.
If you're going to make it count, then this is the lap to do it.
So anything in the 241s is good. Anything in the 240s is really good, and the 239 would be mega. And Law Kai Law is about to prove whether he's good, very good, or a mega. And he comes now down towards the R bend, the last corner on the lap, turns right, Back onto the loud pedal, heading up towards the timing line. Now breaks the beam, and a 2:34.781. Wow. That's mega in capital letters.
That was a properly committed lap, wasn't it? You knew it. You picked it up early on. Keen to get ahead of the traffic. Keen not to be held up at the start of a lap, and that worked really well.
And you don't often get to say this, so indulge me. It is a Lotus 1-2 because Adam Christodoulou has gone second, 2:37.468. So the two teammates then in the Lotus Emiras for Toro Racing, 1 and 2.
Lorkai Laura's not finished either.
No, and nor is Adam, because he was even quicker in the first sector. So 88, Adam Christodoulou is the next one to keep an eye on. And there he is, just going through shot.
Gone purple, sector 1 has Adam Christodoulou, and previous to that, his teammate had done exactly the same thing. So 26.5 for Adam Christodoulou compares to his teammate 27. So that's half a second on that sector. Goes purple again, does Adam. So sector 2, a 28.5 in sector 2. And Lorkai Law, his teammate, has seemingly backed off a little bit on sector 2. Checkered flag is out, so is Adam going to make this final? Gone.
That's the first time you've said that all day. Yes, well done.
Yes, well done. You're right. Yeah, it came up on the screen. Checkered flag is out. So this is the lap for Adam Christodoulou. Purple in sectors 1 and 2.
We talk about him being a GT star. His two titles that he's won have both been in single-seaters, though, in his earlier days. Formula Renault and then Star Mazda in America. But Adam Christodoulou, then, the best thing to come out of Litchfield since the A38. Makes his run up the hill now. And he didn't do a purple third sector, but it was a personal best. So it's still looking good for... Oh, no, it's not. Well... Is he going to do the lap, or are we going to cop for a red flag? Because there's another car off, but it's up an escape road, isn't it?
It is.
So we should be safe here.
And that's, that's out of harm's way.
Yeah. Right, so Adam Christodoulou, with traffic ahead, is in sector 4. The checkered flag is out. Lorkai Law is the fastest on the 2:34.7. Adam Christodoulou goes through shot.
Yeah.
He might get away with this and be able to go faster.
But it wasn't even a personal best, that sector.
No, he's got round sort of the traffic of Liang Jiatong ahead of him, the BMW. So maybe Adam Christodoulou is going to have to content himself with knowing that the sector times were good and there is the potential to string it all together, because Liang Jiatong slows right down to the last corner. And actually Adam has dropped back behind Lorkai Law anyway, hasn't he?
Yeah. So... no, it wasn't to be on this final opportunity, so it is Lorkai Law who tops the times with the checker flag. You're right, the first one of the day.
Adam did go quicker, though, 2:35.9, so he's 1.2 seconds down on his teammate. I think he'll be OK with that. He knows he's in the ballpark. So, yeah, first checkered flag. All the other sessions brought to a close with the red, or not resumed after the red. So... a Lotus 1-2, gosh, it's like 1978 all over again.
Not only did they look good, they went well as well.
They did. And you're right about the colour scheme.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of Colin Chapman's fabulous Formula 1 cars of the late 1970s. Actually, early 1970s, if you think about black and gold Lotus 72s. But
running all the way into the 80s.
That colour scheme.
That colour scheme, yeah. I know, because it's when I first sort of started really getting into motor racing. So I decided at the 1984 British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch to buy myself a black and gold Lotus liveried bottle of aftershave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was huge. It was a huge bottle of aftershave, and I bought it, and it went for years because it smelled horrible.
Really?
Yes. It was awful. Mum said, "Oh, you're not wearing that again, are you?"
Find a different team to support.
Yes.
Lokar Chun's Ginetta was the one that was up the escape road. There it is, trying to rejoin. But the session is at a natural end. We'll get the leaderboard in a moment for you. But Lotus is first, or Lotai, first and second, Lorkai Law, Adam Christodoulou, and then BMW 3-4, Liang Jiatong from Kelvin Leung, Ginetta 5 and 6. So they're all paired off like Noah's Ark. Right line from the one that's up the escape road now of Lokar Chun. But the Lotus Emiras, not a car that we've really seen in Europe, in fact, in GT4 racing. But with the Lotus ownership, the Asian market is where it's been launched. And
do you know, the Lotus Elan always used to look to be a very nimble, nippy little car. And I know it's a much bigger car, but it has that nimble little look to it, doesn't it?
Yes, I mean, people instantly think in terms of racing. I know Lotus did road cars, but in terms of motor racing, they perhaps more think about Formula One and World Championship One, understandably. But yes, I mean, the Elan, Lotus Esprits, Lotus Elites as well in the 1960s were great little sports racing.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And even sports prototype. Lotus 15s, Lotus 17s, Lotus 11s, all very, very successful. So sports car racing and Lotus does have a good heritage. A number of cars under investigation for crossing the pit exit yellow line.
I've seen that a lot today.
Yeah.
An awful lot.
And there the KTM of Ao Chi Weng comes to the pits. That car from outside the top 16. So in the end, 22nd it was in fact. Lovely shot that. Quirky cars down side by side.
Yeah.
Everything there. You've got the reservoir, you've got the water, you've got the traffic, you've got the race cars, you've got the infrastructure.
And the minivan won.
The minivan won, exactly. And even this, look, people even on an in-lap still pushing.
Yeah, really pushing. Yeah.
Which you might think is not the wisest of things to do.
Yeah.
But they are doing it.
Yeah.
So, there's the traffic jam of the race cars arriving to go to the paddock, which is the underground car park. So as we look out of our window, we can see them dropping down the ramp, the teams with all the equipment having to go down there and working on cars in a multi-storey car park with the noise hemmed in as much as the heat. It's not much fun, but that's where they are.
I saw fans yesterday, not motor racing fans, but wind-blowing fans, bigger than I have ever seen, because there is no throughput of air down there. It's really hard work for them, really hard work.
Well, Law Kai Law tops the times from Adam Christodoulou and Liang Jiatong. Kelvin Leung fourth from Brian Lai and Lo Ka Chun sixth. William Chung from Terence Tsay, the next pair, and then Zheng Jianfeng and Zhu Zhiyao rounding out the top 10 at the end of our Greater Bay Area GT4 free practice session. Li Yan Han was ahead of Lau Kim Ho, then Yang Chun Lei and Han Li Chao 14th. 15th was Kan Chi Wei from Wang Wei Hong, Liu Qiren from Miguel Lai, and then it was Patricio Wu and Kenny Chung 20th from Chan Chi Ho, Ao Chi Wang, and rounding out the 23 after he hit the barrier, Li Shen Yu with his KTM. Well, that whets your appetite for GT machinery. That was GT4, the next session, the last.